Back in the late 60s, when our conservative Orange County was being shaken by hundreds of vans pouring into it with long-haired kids who were against the establishment and were a threat to the establishment. Because we had children of our own that were in high school and college, my wife was deeply concerned with what was happening to the young people who, so many of them were turning on to drugs, marijuana, the LSD, dropping out. She kept saying, honey, we've got to reach these kids. We've got to reach them. My feeling was dirty hippies, why don't they take them back? But she would, in the evening after dinner, say, honey, let's drive over to Huntington Beach. We drive over there and we park on Main Street and we'd watch these kids. They were stoned, walking up and down the streets. I would turn over and I would see the tears coming down her cheeks. She was praying, God, help us to reach these kids. Help us, God. We drive to Laguna Beach and we park down there and watch the kids, and the same thing. She'd just be interceding and praying, God, help us somehow to reach these kids. Our daughter, who was in college at the time, started dating a young fellow, and when he showed me his driver's license, I was shocked. Because he was a nice, clean-cut kid. When he was coming over to pick up my daughter, but his driver's license had the picture of a kid with dark glasses and long hair. The typical. And we realized that he'd been in that culture. And she said, John, I need to meet a hippie. I need to meet an honest-to-goodness hippie, John. I want to find out what makes the tick. You that know my wife know that she's a very curious person, filled with questions. She wanted one that she could question and find out just what made them tick. And so one evening, about 5 o'clock, our doorbell rang. And there was John, the young fellow who had been dating our daughter, and with him, a real, honest-to-goodness hippie. Long hair, beard, flowers in his hair, bells on the cuffs of his pants, barefooted. And John said, Chuck, I want you to meet Lonnie. And Lonnie extended his hand. And there was such a warmth of love manifested in his greeting. I was caught off guard. There was an instant bond. There was a power of God's Spirit upon his life that was very easily recognized. We invited Lonnie in. My wife began to cross-examine him, finding out all she could about what made him tick. And then, well, the interesting thing was, John said, I was driving past Orange Coast College and I saw this hippie, and John had a real ministry to hippies, and he would pick them up and just witness to them, pick them up only for the purpose of witnessing to them. So as he picked up Lonnie, he started to witness, and Lonnie said, hey, I'm not really going anywhere, I just hitchhike in order that I can witness to everybody coming to me. And so John said, hey, I want you to come and meet some friends of mine. You'll blow their mind. And he did. Lonnie was in our house for a while. But it still wasn't Lonnie. It was several of his friends also. And our house became sort of a Christian commune for a while until the kids started complaining about their shirts were missing, their sweaters and all. And so we felt, well, it's necessary to open up a Christian communal home. That began the House of Ministries, of which Lonnie was an integral and important part. Lonnie used to bring kids over to baptize them in our doughboy pool in the backyard. You never knew what was going to happen, who would be at the door. That was the beginning of a very wonderful, special relationship. One of the memories that sort of stands out in my mind, we were building the new chapel and we were determining on colors for the upholstery on the pews and buckets, and a few of us were going to meet together over in Huntington Beach. And because of Lonnie's artistic flares, we wanted to have Lonnie as a part of this committee to help us determine the colors. And so as we were driving up Brookhurst with Lonnie and a couple of other fellows in the car, there was a heavy fog. So we were carefully making our way up Brookhurst and we came upon an accident. A fellow in a little Porsche had rear-ended a truck. He was lying there unconscious in his car. It was so foggy that a couple of us grabbed the flare and started running back down towards the oncoming traffic in order to alert them that up ahead in the fog there was an accident. Lonnie went to minister to the fellow who was in the Porsche. And as he was coming to, he had knocked unconscious, as he was coming to, he looked up and saw Lonnie with his long hair and beard and all, comforting him and saying, it's all going to be all right now, it's going to be all right, you know. The guy freaked out. He thought he was dead. He thought he was looking at the face of the Lord. The fellow went home, panicked. But the next night, Lonnie had gotten his address, went to visit him, and of course, you know the results. He and his wife and family accepted the Lord. But that's just the way Lonnie was. I think of Paul the Apostle declaring to the Corinthians, my speech was not with the enticing words of man's wisdom, but the power and the demonstration of the Spirit. And that can surely be said for Lonnie's ministry. It wasn't the enticing words of man's wisdom. In fact, I used to sit and sort of cringe at the way he twisted some of the Bible story. However, when you would get the invitation and everybody would come forward, what can you say? The power and the demonstration of the Spirit of God was so strong in his life and in his ministry. It is interesting, John, that you should talk about Samson. Last week, when I got home from Guadalajara, where we were with Mike McIntosh, whose life was also greatly impacted by Lonnie. Mike had this citywide outreach there in Guadalajara. It was just exciting to be down there and to be with Mike and see what the Spirit of God was doing down there. When I got home, my wife said, "Honey, Lonnie has passed away." Lonnie was like a son to us, a spiritual son, sort of a Timothy. And I looked at my wife and I said, "Sam, a man who knew the powerful anointing of God's Spirit upon his life. A man who was such a terror to the enemies of God. But unfortunately, a man who never experienced the ultimate of the potential." I often wonder just what he could have been. Last Wednesday I called Lonnie. I said, "Hi, son. This is your dad." And they said, "You're not looking too well." We talked a little bit of that work that God, by His Holy Spirit, had wrought through Lonnie's life back there in the early years of Calvary Chapel. I saw him more or less at the beginning of his ministry. I saw him at the end of his ministry. As Paul the Apostle said, "I have fought a good fight. I have finished the course." Finished the course perhaps a little too soon, but nonetheless, have rectification. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, that the Lord our righteous judge shall give. But not only to me, but to all of those who do love His appearing. Lonnie has moved out of the old tent into that beautiful new house, the building of God, not made with hands. And He has left us here with thankful hearts. For His willingness to allow God's Spirit to work through His life in such a way that we've all been impacted by what God can do through one who would just surrender and yield himself. Even as weak a vessel as it might have been, yet what God can do when a person will just yield his life to God. The lesson that God wants us to learn today. God can use each of us if we will not just yield ourselves to the power of His Holy Spirit.
Amen.